All right. Hope you all really enjoyed that video. Let's get you all started. A very warm welcome to the Employee Center Academy. We are back again with yet another session. This is part of our October 2024 series. And if you haven't already, please feel free to introduce yourself on chat. Um, if this is the first time you're attending an academy session, I wanted to start with just a brief introduction to what these sessions are. So, Employee Center Academy is actually a monthly series of events, and this is the time when product team comes together along with other experts in the organization to literally give you a deep dive overview of a particular feature. Now, since this is an Employee Center Academy, we focus on Employee Center or Employee Center Pro capabilities. You can review the past sessions. All of these sessions are recorded. These recordings are also available on YouTube. And if you would see the recordings on community, we also post Q&A as well as the slides from the session today. So please go ahead and review those. You will see the link for these coming in chat shortly. Some ground rules. Um, already see people writing on the chat. Great to see that. Please use the chat for asking your questions, sorry, not asking your questions, for interacting with each other and sharing your comments and feedback. We will be using the Q&A panel solely for answering questions. This will help us manage the Q&A. We do have experts, so please keep the questions flowing. You don't have to wait till the end. Post your question as they come to your mind on the Q&A panel, and one of the panelists will get to them. So here's the topic for today. The topic for today is content ownership and management for employee communications. Now, employee communications is an Employee Center Pro capability. So everything that we are talking about today is tied with the Employee Center Pro license. We will be diving deep into the concept of content ownership and how that helps manage the content better. And again, the content here is communications content. We're not talking about knowledge or catalog or other forms of content that you may have. This is in particular the different various types of contents that you can have for communications. And I'll talk through that shortly. Just to introduce myself, I'm Pooja Gupta. I am one of the speakers and your host for this Academy session. I lead the outbound team within this team within the product team called Unified Employee Experience at ServiceNow. Joined with me are my two of my esteemed colleagues. One is Smriti Gupta. You may have heard from her again. She also is in the outbound function. And also joined with me is our engineering lead for employee communications, Rafa. So you will hear from both of them as we go through the session today. All right, let's start with some introduction. Now, as I mentioned, employee communications is the capability to drive proactive engagement and inform employees um, throughout the portal experience, and it comes with Employee Center Pro. Now, it's not just portal that you are actually communicating and engaging employees on. There are multiple different channels that you're actually sending targeted and actionable communications on. And there are different types of communications that you are actually doing. Some are have a very strict start date and an end date. Some have an action or a to do associated with it. Some are dynamic or ongoing conversations. And each of these communications are actually targeted to a set of audience that you define in the system. So it's a really rich component of Employee Center Pro. When you think about all the different content types that we are going to discuss today, this slide kind of summarizes them. There's a lot of portal content, and you can have things like banners, announcements, videos, events, rich content, or what leads to a microsite, and even employee news articles. There are again mobile contents, to do contents are actually tasks that you are assigning with a communication. So they could be, a click of a link or a video that they have to play and watch. And you also have notifications that can be pushed across channels, whether it is SMS, email, and Microsoft Teams. So these are all the different content types under the umbrella of employee communications within Employee Center Pro. Now, when you think about all these different content, the content managers or the people who are building the content can, of course, send these out individually for certain pages or wherever they want those communications to be made. But they can also kind of build auto targeted or auto triggered campaigns. So here's an example of a campaign on the screen. It's a return to workplace campaign, which has different stages or bundles of content that have been created based on a predefined trigger point. It could be time, and there's of course different types of content associated with each bundle. So content managers are managing campaigns. They're also managing individual content. At the same time, we also have the ability for end users to make requests to content managers. Not everybody in your organization likely has the ability to create communication contents. It's only those who have the role of content admin or content managers who can create communication content. But let's say I'm a manager sitting in a certain geography and I want certain new news capability, news information to be posted for the audience sitting in the geography that I serve. I don't have this role and I want to make a request. With Employee Center Pro, there is a catalog item that is available for me to actually make that communication request and for the author or the content manager to receive that request and a whole workflow for the content authors to send a preview to the requester, drive approvals, and then, finally even publish it. So the content manager is now managing one more thing, all these set of requests that are coming in. Then at the same time, we have the ability to define who can post what. So it's like you have a content manager role, but it might be that your content admin has restricted the audience that you can post communications to. Let's say you can only post communication based out of America or AMS region, and you don't have the right to post communications to Europe. So, or you could even be restricted access at a page level or a topic page level, or even that, hey, you can post news, but you cannot touch microsites or rich content. So, there are all these restrictions that have been placed for a content manager. So, I have to manage a lot of things, and second, then I don't always know what exactly I've been assigned to till I really start trying, or I have that written down somewhere in a piece of paper. What all of these leads to is challenges for in the world of content managers. First of all, if you would look into all the different published content, it's really hard for them to navigate and like filter it down to what content I should really care about. It's very hard to prioritize. Um, it's there is like I said, there is so much different types of delegated ownership. I don't know who is this person that I need to collaborate with to get this communication out on XYZ page. And maybe I'm over dependent on the content admin to kind of help me navigate all these things. And at the same time, there are 50 content managers for my organization. We're all pushing content to employees. Are we managing content fatigue for them? As a manager who cares about content fatigue because I am one of the recipients being an employee as well, how do I manage it? These are all questions that we have heard content managers uh, place us and request us for guidance. So that is one of the reasons why we built what we call content operations dashboard. Now, this dashboard was made available as part of the August release, and it is available with Employee Center Pro Store release. We will share more details on what are the additional requirements, what family release you need to be in, what version number, but just bear in mind that this is brand new. It came out in August and it's tied with Employee Center Pro. So let's dive deep into what this content operations dashboard is all about. So the first thing that you would see in content operations dashboard is that there is a single view where a content manager can manage all my content or all the content that they should care about. There are filters over there for them to go further narrow in terms of what content they want to focus on, or broaden that scope and go like beyond. And let's say I want to see for all my the content owned by my group and not just me. So you can do things like that. You can even actually see a view of content based on your life cycle of the content. Like if it's content to be published or expiring, you can actually get a very quick view. And at the same time, you get also getting a view into what campaigns you're running, what requests you're receiving, or what requests are unassigned. So this is like one place the content manager can go to really manage all the content that he or she should need to care about. And the good thing is there's also a new button that links to the builder experience directly from here. So I don't need to go into the list and forms view or navigate through the ServiceNow navigation bar to get to this. All I need to know is like bookmark this, and as a content manager, I can do most of the things that I want to as part of this single dashboard view. We have also created what we call a publishing calendar in the content operations dashboard. And what this provides is the ability for the content managers to get a bird's eye view of all the content that is targeted to the employees at a given date. So you can actually see, on Wednesday of this month, of this week, sorry, what content is going out, what channel it is going on, what page it is going on, what widget it is going on, and as you are looking to adjust your publishing calendar to actually mitigate the fatigue that you anticipate the employees to face, you can actually just click on the content here and get to the edit view so you can make the required changes. So it's a really easy way to get a bird's eye view and also make changes so you can adjust. You want to move from one content from Tuesday to Wednesday, you can do that easily directly from here. Then the third thing is around the ownership. So as I mentioned, it's very difficult for content managers to get a visibility of who owns what. Like it's like a black box for many organizations. We can assign ownership based on content, based on pages, so based on topics, based on audiences. And again, when we say audiences, some people may not be familiar. Audiences are almost like user criteria. You could use the user criteria um, and build your audiences, and it could be like, the audience is US based employees, India based employees, um, um, contingent employees, or employees who are in their first year of employment. So you can build all those different audiences and assign ownership based on those audiences. It could also be HR employees versus IT employees. So these are departmental. So you could do those as well. And what this ownership matrix does is it provides me a view of who owns what. So if I need to post something on a particular page that is not owned by me, I don't need to go to my admin. I can just take a look at this dashboard over here and see who owns that page and directly collaborate with that person. And if I'm an admin, when I go on this page, I can actually assign ownership. You get a very quick view. You don't have to go into one table to the other table to see what ownership has been assigned. You can directly assign someone new from here. You can delete someone who's been assigned ownership, and this becomes your place or your view to manage the ownership. We're very excited about all these changes. Hopefully, you are too. Now, what we will do is we will dive into a demo where we will highlight all of these things and then take your questions as well. Priti, over to you for that.
Thank you so much, Pooja. Let me just share my screen. All right. I hope you can see my slide.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks for setting the context so brilliantly, Pooja. Let's dive deeper into these concepts via a live example. So, before we begin, just as a refresher, we have two roles defined within Employee Center Pro for the employee communication capabilities. So, first is the content admin role, and this role is crucial for managing content ownership across different content teams. So the content admin ensures that access is granted only to those content teams or those individuals who are directly involved with specific content or specific locations or locations such as pages or widgets or with specific audiences. Thereby, they ensure that they're maintaining the effective control and security over the content. So if there's this one content manager who is with the AMS content team, he should not be able to publish content for APAC region and so on. So he's kind of ensuring that uh, you have efficient security over the content. Next, we have the content manager role. And the content manager role is responsible for creating content, editing content, and publishing this content um, with a wide range of content and campaigns. Additionally, the content manager also reviews the content request that the end users or stakeholders uh, put up and ensures that those requests are fulfilled by publishing appropriate content. Now, for the purpose of this demo, let us assume that we have a federated or a decentralized content governance structure with the organization. And so we have a central content team who's owning the central organizational communications across various business units such as IT, HR, etc. And then we have regional content teams who are responsible for delivering region specific content such as APAC content team or EMEA content team and so on. So James, that you can see on the right hand side, he's the content admin for the central content team, and Candice on the left hand side is the content admin for regional content teams. And each of them are managing a set of content managers for their teams respectively. So, for example, Candice is managing these regional content teams like EMEA and APAC, and she has all these people who actually are content managers and are publishing or creating content for their respective regions or geographies. Now, let us consider a scenario where we are walking past a typical day at work for Mary, who's the content manager for the APAC content team. Now, if you remember, we just discussed that as a content manager, she is responsible for creating and publishing content and ensuring that all content requests assigned to her are fulfilled on time and all her campaigns and all of her content is active and up to date. Now, before content operations dashboard, the image that you see on the screen here, and let me just go on the instance and show you the live view. So this was the content publishing view before content operations dashboard. And you can see the view that she started her day with. It was a little overwhelming because there's a lot of content. As you can see, there's about 150 content items here. That's basically all of the content that every content manager in her organization is working on. And Mary have to actually keep on adding several filters to get to managing this content or even just discovering the content that she's working on right now. So thankfully, her organization has enabled content operations dashboard for the content team, right? So in the content operations dashboard, Mary can get a quick view of all the published content that she is currently working on. So this is all the content. This is her my content view, and this is all the content that she is actively working on or have made updates to. These are all of our content items across various content types, such as URLs, to-do content, calendar events, mobile notifications, news articles, banners, campaigns, etc. Everything is available and visible at one place. If she wants to build a new content, she can directly click on this new button here that you see. She can click on it and just select what content she's looking to build and get started, right? And in case she's looking to edit any of the existing content that she's already working on, she can see this list here, select any of the existing content that she would like to edit or continue editing. And after I click here, I can see this content, I can make my edits and get started. And once I'm done making my edits, I can add a publishing plan and publish this, right? So she can also use these filters. If you see on the right hand side, you see a filter icon here. So she can also use these filters to kind of um, view a larger picture. So we were talking about content managers can view what content items the larger group is working on. So if this filter is updated by Mary, so if I just deselect this filter, I can see all of the content that all the content teams in my organization is working on right now. And if I just want to have my view, I can click on these restore defaults. And here, I can see all the 10 content items that Mary was working on. If I want to edit the structure of this table, I can just click on this gear icon here, click on edit columns, and select or deselect any of the columns. So for example, I don't want to see the updated date. I can deselect it. I can select state instead and click OK. And then I'll be able to see what is the state of my content item, whether it is published or in drafts, right? And so this is the seamless and structured view for her as content manager to quickly identify what content she owns and make any of the changes to it. Now, down here, she can actually see content in different life cycles as well. So she can see content that is scheduled to be published or content that is expiring soon within 7 days. And then again, she can click on it, quickly review what these articles are, and just quickly review on any of the event, make your edits, right, and publish it. If this needs to be published, you can go ahead and make her edits and publish it directly from here. And she doesn't have to kind of apply filter to that overwhelming list to get to this list of content that needs to be published or content that is expiring within 7 days. Similarly, just as Pooja has mentioned, employee communications offers this capability to connect content in different campaigns and publish them out. So Mary can quickly view which of the content items are actually connected to a campaign and it is yet to be published, and also which of the content items that are connected to a campaign and are expiring. So this gives the complete view of the end-to-end life cycle of all the various campaign contents as well. And she can click on this, see the list of campaign items to be published or even which are expiring soon and make her edits directly. Now, as you all are aware, content governance provides us the capability for end users to make content requests. So as a content manager, Mary is also receiving requests that end users have placed for the content team to build content or stakeholders have placed for the content team to build content. And this is where she's managing all of her content requests. These are the four tiles that gives her a view of content requests that are unassigned, content requests which are due within 7 days, content request in progress, and content request in review, right? And then finally, the content request ready to be published. And if she has bandwidth available, she can just click on this, see what is the content request here, right? And assign it to herself. So for example, I just want to assign it to myself. Update, and then I can get started on working on that content item, right? So in summary, this becomes her workplace as a content manager to manage all kinds of content that she owns or she's part of. Next up, Mary wants to plan when to publish all of her content that she's currently working on, right? So before I move on with this piece, on the My Content view, is there anything, Pooja, that I should be repeating from this view or focusing again on?
Now, this is good. We will get back once you are done with the flow.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, suppose Mary wants to plan when to publish all of her content that she's currently working on. She wants to have that visibility for the entire month across all these different content types that her team is working on. So, she can see all of these different content items that her team is working on, including the content with no end date. So, content items such as news article, which needs to stay published for at least for the near future, that is also visible. In case she does not want to see the perennial content, she can just deselect this filter and then have this filtered view, which shows all the banners, campaigns, mobile notifications, to-do content, events, etc. Now she can filter out if she just wants to see the content request and content campaign content that's scheduled for this month. She can filter out this content library content and see only the campaign and request items scheduled for this month, right? And she can also, um, if she does not want to see the news content or the portal content and she just want to see the mobile content, notification and to do content right now, she can filter those content items out, or those channel types out, and see this filtered view here. Next up, suppose she only wants to focus on what is published on the home page, on especially the homepage banner, right? So she can select this location by selecting the page as EC Pro Home and then selecting the widget as the header. So she can see for the entire month, this is the banner that is scheduled to be published. And then if she wants to kind of publish her own content without overwhelming the end users or employees, or without risking content fatigue, she can go ahead and make those plans, publishing plans accordingly. Next up, she can have this view by month or week or even by day. So she can have that visibility. And in case there are just too many content items that are visible here, the overflow is kind of managed by clicking this five more, and on the right hand side, she can view what are all these content. And in case she would like to make edits to any of this content, she can just click here and have this edited directly, right? So she does not have to navigate to this view via complex filters or anything. She has it available very easily here. And also, if she would like to have visibility into what was published last month, or even what is planned for publishing in next coming months, she can have that visibility, right? Finally, Mary can also view the ownerships across various content items, across portal pages. So this is the visibility or the ownership matrix across various content items, across various portal pages, across various taxonomy topics, or across various audiences. This view will provide her a better clarity on why she can't publish content for the US audience, but she can only publish content for the APEC audience because she has been defined as owner only for APEC audience, not for US audience, right? Or why she can't publish news articles on the news center page. Um, sorry, why she can publish news articles only on the news center page, but she cannot publish those articles on the homepage. So that's because she has access to the news center page, but she does not have access to the EC Pro homepage, right? So she can also view all these ownership rights that have been granted to various groups. So she's part of APAC content team, and she can see that APAC content team only has access to APAC users. And then these are the ownerships defined for all these content across various groups. So she has that visibility for individual users as well as the groups. Just to summarize what we have just discussed, with content operations dashboard, the outcomes that Mary as content manager would be able to achieve is she has a streamlined view of content that is in progress or content that needs to be updated. She has better visibility into the publishing calendar, and she can plan her content publishing dates accordingly. And she has better visibility into the ownership and accountability for each of the content items, right? So from this overwhelming list layout, we have a very streamlined layout. Next up, for content admin role, we have Candice, who's managing the regional content teams, right? So previously, she had to define content ownership for all of our content team members across various places. So, for example, she had to define audience ownership on the audience record, and then topic page ownership on the topic page record. But now, as content admin, she can simply define those ownerships here. So let's just start our view as Candace, the content admin, and go to my content operations dashboard. So I have the similar layout, um, just a couple of changes here. So I can see the ownership matrix here and have the visibility for the whole entire organization of which individual is owning which pages of which audiences and which groups are owning which content or topics. And as content admin, if I want to add new ownerships, I can just see this new button here and define it for whatever topic or page or audience or content I'm looking to define. So for example, I can click here, select the page that I am looking to define ownership to. So I want to give ownership for EC home page to Mary. So I can define the page and the user and submit. And once I have defined those ownerships, I can see that Mary now has access to EC homepage as well. Now on the top right, if you see this edit in UI builder button, in case as a content admin, I would like to make some changes in this content operations dashboard, I can just go ahead and make my changes. So just to summarize, as a content admin, she has better visibility into the ownership and accountability for the content teams within the organization. And she has a better and streamlined experience of defining those ownerships. With that, we come to an end for the demo. I would just pause here for any of the additional questions.
Thanks, Smriti. One question that I think was not clear for some folks was like, how do we get to this dashboard? Can you just show from the URL, like from the navigator?
Sure. So the good thing is for content operations dashboard, we have added this dashboard across the different application headers that you see. So if you see the content governance, you see a my content operations table menu item here. Then under content publishing also, you see my content operations. So there's just various places or several places from which you can access this dashboard, right?
Yep. And what I would just add to it is like we recommend to favorite it. If you're a content manager, you should favorite it and it should be an easy way to get to it. You can also create a quick link for them and have it accessible via Employee Center so they don't have to come into the back end at all. So these are just ways you can make it easier for your content managers. There are a few more. Thank you, Smriti. There are a few more questions that are coming in. We will get to them shortly, but I want to just share some additional guidance to clarify certain points of confusion that people have. First one is, what are the rights of content manager? So we discussed that we are talking about ownership assignment. We're talking about, hey, they can own at an audience record, a page record. But what happens if I own something and I don't own the other content item? So what does my experience look like? So this table is kind of highlighting that. So once you are, so if I'm an admin, I can do a lot of things. I can update, I can create new audiences. I can, create content items. Um, I can update pages and all that. But if I'm a content manager and I'm assigned something, then um, I can do the changes that are highlighted as per this table over here. I'm not going to go through them individually because you will have this slide. Um, if I'm not assigned, then I typically only have the view rule, view rights. Now, if you have a content item which is not assigned to anyone, so it is like there is no assignment defined on it, then it is open for everyone to make changes. So this is an important thing to remember. You're assigning it so you can restrict who can make changes to it. If you're not assigning it to anyone, then anyone who has the content manager right can make changes. So we highly recommend you to kind of like, define this ownership carefully. There's often confusion between what is content ownership and what is content governance, and what is content publishing as well. So I wanted to clarify that. So content ownership, especially as the way that we have spoken about in this session today, is actually enabled through a set of properties. It is actually a set of properties that comes with content publishing, and these properties allow content admins to do the restrictions and the ownership assignments. It's included as part of content publishing. So there is no separate app for content ownership. So when you upgrade to Employee Center Pro, your content publishing app automatically gets updated and you get this whole dashboard and the ownership capabilities. But you do have to have those properties enabled and the admins actually assigning the ownership. Now let's talk about content governance. That is a separate app, and what it does, it provides that pre-built workflow for end users to make requests to content managers to publish content. And the whole workflow from receiving that request to working on that request, sending it for reviews, making changes, getting it approved and published, all of that is enabled through content governance. So, of course, if you don't have content governance installed, in the dashboard you had this whole section for content request, you will not see that section because you don't have content governance. So you're not enabled the process of getting content requests. There is no separate licensing with content governance. It is part of Employee Center Pro license, but it is a separate plugin. Now, the other question that was coming up was around requirements. So, like I mentioned, you need Employee Center Pro. This was available, this came out as part of August store release, which is the version 32.0.4. And the content publishing plugin is auto installed when you do that. If you want to use the content request, you do have to update the content governance plugin as well. And these are all backward compatible. So read the product docs for additional details, but you can get these functionalities even if you are still on Vancouver. And that's the beauty of actually having store releases. These are these are backward compatible to N minus 2. The other things to keep in mind, if you're not seeing anything in your dashboard, you're not able to um, make changes, do assignments, you probably don't have the properties activated. So please do check on this. It's very easy. All you have to do is content publishing, advanced, and properties, and you will see like a big lot of properties that we have defined that enable or disable multiple different things that we have made available as part of content management or content publishing. Um, Before I get into the events and all that, I did want to spend some time, and let me just stop share and bring up my instance. There were a couple of questions that came up. First one was around how I can do version control. So let me share, and that is fairly like it's fair to say that it is part of our um, content management activity. So good thing is, if I'm a content manager, I'm coming over here, I can actually group my content, and I'm logged in as admin, so you see a lot of different things. But if I group by admin, let's say I want to change the version or review the version of styled content. Um, and maybe I pick up, let's pick up this one. I go from here, I go to the record, and then you see this change history. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have anything, but this is where you would see the versions and you can see which one is current. Let me pick a different example. I think I have one open for happy birthday banner. Let's see. Is it a banner? Let's see. Hopefully, this one has some change history. Okay, this one doesn't. But essentially, you go over here, you can see different versions. You can see who it is modified by, when it was modified, and then you can also see if which of the versions is actually the current version. And you can, of course, modify that from here as well. Any questions on this? I see some hands raised. I will get to you shortly. The other question that I saw in the Q&A panel was around how do we help our authors know when they have to publish what. So there are a couple of things. First is, of course, for some of our content items, we have made it possible to directly edit from the page that you want the content to be. So let's see. Um, so if this is the front end view, I go from here to, do we have content authoring enabled on this? I guess not. So let me just pick a different version. Yeah. Yeah. So let's say I go on this page. There's a microsite over here. If you see on top, there is an author view. I can just go here, I can edit, and it directly takes me. And then the beauty of this is when you get to the publish tab, everything is automatically filled in. So that's one way. So we are looking into making it possible to edit directly from the portal view a lot more. We have this author view activated. This is currently available for rich content, but we will make it available for additional content types shortly. So that's one thing. The other thing that I wanted to highlight was that if you go on news articles, we have something called um, content template. So over here, you can actually have a content template defined. And what this does, it actually tells what are the different places you want this to be published. And for a given category of your news, you can have predefined templates. So the author doesn't have to think where this news is published or should be published. All they have to do is pick up that category and their associated template, and you have it predefined, and automatically the published plans are pre-populated. The author can make changes, review them, and make changes, but this kind of makes it streamlined to automatically define where the content should be published. Now, both these are kind of parallel to what we were covering in the session today, but they're definitely part of content management. So, wanted to bring that up. Smriti, anything that came up while I was talking that you think I should pick up?
Probably this is one question on content engagement. So impressions
Yeah.
and click through.
Yeah. So if you would see, we have additional thing. This is again something that came up in August, and we will do a separate academy session, but very quick. If you would see this news article, there is in this hamburger menu over here, we have view analytics report. If you click on it, you can see this dashboard would probably not look great right now because I don't have data, but you can see how it has been trending, how many views, how many people have been looking into it, how many of them are unique views. You can also see engagement on the article. When you get into the content record, you can also see like if it's been flagged or if there are comments that have been flagged. So there are a lot of different things that you can, this is the reported comments, that you can do to kind of manage and see engagement on your content. We will cover analytics and everything around it in a upcoming academy session soon. Okay. I guess we have a lot of hand raised, so let's take Andrew. Do you want to go first? You should be allowed to talk now. Okay. Cheryl, you're also allowed to talk, and Vanessa, you're also allowed to talk. So if any of you are able to unmute, we can go to you.
Hey, Pooja, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, it's Vanessa. I where you were showing the report, which I know you said that you're going to go into in another session. Should we right now be able to see the four? I think there was four
Hmm.
different things that we're tracking. I think it was a
Should
screen
Yeah.
before.
You wanted to like, what was your question? Should you wait?
Should we be able to currently see the four items that are tracking on that analytics?
Yeah, for that you have to have content analytics updated. There is an application called Content Analytics which needs to be updated. So if you don't have that installed, you'll probably not see it. It's also tied with another one that we have for content engagement, which is, I believe, automatically downloaded. If you need those two enabled to see this, and again, we will cover in more detail, but we can share an article which is on the August store release, which kind of covers some of the basics around it.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful. When I'm seeing on mine, but I'll go back and look at those other two plugins, which I believe I'm up to date on, is I'm only
Mhm.
seeing the first one, the trends,
Okay.
and not the other three.
Do you have engagement enabled? Like, do you
I
have
am
any?
gonna
Yeah, okay.
go and double check that one, but I should be for sure updated on the content analytics.
Okay. Yeah, we can take this offline. If not, we will definitely cover this with lot more detail later on.
Yeah, if there's any type of documentation, I think there probably could be others that would reference it maybe
Yeah,
in preparation. That would be
yeah,
great just so we could come with questions on the next session. Thank you.
absolutely. I'm seeing comments coming on that on chat already. So thanks, Vanessa. Other questions from the panelists? Anything that we should bring up?
I
All right.
think we are good for now.
Um, yeah. So, all right. So we are still here for your questions. If there are any, please let us know. Meanwhile, you can find a lot of the details that we spoke about. Release information if you're curious about what additional things are coming in, or sorry, came out in August. We will share that link. Smriti, could you just share the release blog for August in chat? That will give you a lot more details on content analytics and some of the other features. Um, this is not the only time you can ask us questions. Um, we have office hours, which focus on just pure employee center deployment, but also office hours, which focus on employee communications. And the next one is coming soon, November 7th. Vanessa, we can deep dive on this, on the analytics piece as part of that office hour as well. And then we have an APAC region show and tell, a very, very cool customer who is presenting. So I recommend you to join that. And then another webinar on deployment. Cool. It was a pleasure hosting you for this month. We will be back again. I saw there were a few people who were interested in guided self service. That is the topic for next month. It is available with Employee Center Standard as well. I highly recommend that. There is no licensing, extra licensing associated with it, and it's a really, really cool capability. So I look forward to speaking with you again, if not before, on November 20th. And thank you so much for attending this session. Have a great rest of your day.